He repaired the legendary ship, then uncovered humanity's hidden hope. The stars stretched endlessly across the Andromeda expanse, a dark sea of glittering lights. Among them drifted a ghost, a shadow that moved too slowly for anyone to notice at first.
It was a ship, a human ship, or at least it had once been. Now it was nothing but a broken legend, floating silently as if the galaxy itself had forgotten it.
Its name, whispered in history, sent shivers down the spines of even the bravest spacefarers, the Perseus. Cale stared at it through the viewport of his small salvage shuttle.
His hands clenched the controls tightly, though his pulse was steady. Most people would have walked away. After all, the Perseus had been lost centuries ago. Entire fleets had searched for it, and no one had ever returned from such missions.
The stories said it was cursed, that anyone who tried to board it never came back. But Cale didn't care about curses.
He cared about mysteries, and if the rumors were true, this ship wasn't just a relic, it was a key.
He activated the docking clamps and slowly guided his shuttle toward the hull. Sparks flew as the magnetic anchors latched onto the ship's metallic skin. The surface was scarred, ripped, and corroded. Time had not been kind. But Cale noticed something strange. Tiny pulses of light flickered along the hull, almost like the ship was breathing. He took a deep breath.
"Hello, Perseus," he muttered under his breath. "Let's see if you're ready to tell your secrets." Inside, the ship smelled of ozone and dust with a faint metallic tang that made Cale's nose wrinkle.
He switched on his flashlight, the beam cutting through the darkness. Everywhere he looked, the remnants of a lost era stared back at him. Control panels shattered, wires dangling like vines, and walls covered in faded markings of a time when humans had dared to dream beyond the stars. Cale's eyes fell on the main console. It was cracked, its screen dark, yet something about it made him pause. The ship seemed to hum softly, a vibration that ran through the floor and into his bones.
It was alive, in a way that defied explanation. He knelt beside the console and began his work.
The first task was simple: reconnect the power circuits. But nothing about this ship was simple. The wiring was like a maze, unlike anything he had seen. Some circuits didn't follow any known patterns. Others glowed faintly, as if carrying a tiny spark of memory. Cale's fingers worked quickly, his training precise.
He was the best engineer in the fleet, and yet even he felt a thrill of unease. Hours passed. Cale worked tirelessly, soldering broken connections, replacing damaged modules, and carefully repairing the hull breaches. Every time he thought he had made progress, a new problem emerged. A door that wouldn't open, a sensor that blinked in code he couldn't read, a strange energy field that pushed against him like a living thing. But Cale didn't stop. He felt a strange connection to the ship. It was as if the Perseus had been waiting for someone who could understand it, someone human enough to see beyond the metal and wires. At last, after what felt like a full cycle of the nearby star, the main console flickered. A soft light glowed, revealing a holographic interface. Cale's breath caught in his throat. He had activated it. The ship had responded. Then he saw it. A map. Not just any map, but one that pointed to a distant sector far beyond the known colonies. It was labeled in ancient human script, Earth's Lost Hope. Cale's mind raced.
What could it mean? For centuries, humans had feared extinction, scattered across the stars after a great alien threat had nearly destroyed them.
The Perseus had vanished during that time, and now it was leading him somewhere no one had found before. He tapped the interface carefully.
The map expanded, showing coordinates, star systems, and a hidden path through a dangerous region of space known for collapsing stars and rogue asteroids. Cale realized that this journey would not be easy. Every step was a risk, but the thought of discovering what humans had hidden, what hope they had preserved, made his heart beat faster.
Cale didn't hear the soft noise behind him at first. A faint shuffle, almost like a whisper of metal against metal. When he turned, he saw a shadow move along the corridor.
His hand went to the sidearm at his belt, but he hesitated. The shadow wasn't an intruder.
It was part of the ship. A hologram flickered to life.
A figure appeared, translucent but detailed. A human in an old-style uniform standing with hands behind their back.
"Welcome, KL," it said.
The voice was soft, calm, almost gentle. "You are the one we waited for."
Kale froze. He had expected ghosts, sure, but a voice? A human voice speaking directly to him from a ship that had been dead for centuries? Who are you?" he asked. "I am the AI of the Perseus, linked to the original crew," the figure replied. "I was designed to awaken only when a human capable of restoring the ship arrived. That human is you."
Kale's mind spun. A ship that could choose its pilot?
"That spoke directly to him?"
He nodded slowly, a mix of awe and fear.
"And the map, the lost hope?" The AI's hologram seemed to shimmer. "It is the key to humanity's survival. Long ago, humans created a safeguard, a way to preserve knowledge, life, and hope beyond the reach of enemies. It is hidden. Only the Perseus can lead you there."
Kale swallowed hard.
Every story he had ever heard about humanity's lost potential, their cleverness, their resilience, it was real. And now, it was his responsibility.
He moved deeper into the ship, following the eye's guidance. Every corridor told a story. Murals of past battles, data crystals containing centuries-old human knowledge, rooms with machinery that defied explanation. Kale felt like he was walking through history itself.
Then he found the engineering bay. The room was massive, filled with broken engines, scattered tools, and sparks of residual energy.
Kale knelt beside the largest engine, a fusion core that had been offline for centuries. He could feel its potential.
He could bring it to life. Hours turned into days as he worked.
Kale slept only in short bursts, eating nutrient rations as he repaired circuits, reconnected engines, and recalibrated ancient systems. He discovered that the ship responded to human intuition. If he hesitated, the ship resisted. If he acted decisively, systems aligned, almost as if it recognized his purpose.
One night, as he adjusted the main drive, the AI spoke again. "Kale, the journey ahead will be dangerous."
The coordinates lead to uncharted space. Beyond patrols and colonies, you may face enemies who seek to destroy humanity's hope.
Kale looked up from his work. "Enemies? What kind?" "Aliens," the AI replied simply. "They do not understand humans, they do not respect ingenuity. But they are patient, and they are powerful. You must be smarter, faster, and braver than they ever expect." Kale nodded, determination hardening his features. "Then I will make sure they fail." Days later, the ship's lights glowed steadily, and the hum of the engines filled every corridor.
Kale stood on the bridge, hands on the rail, looking at the holographic map. Stars twinkled beyond the viewport, a sea of infinite possibilities. And at the center of it all was one question. Could a single human restore what centuries of fear and war had almost destroyed? The AI's hologram flickered beside him. "Kale, you are ready. Activate the drive." Kale took a deep breath. He pressed the command. The engines roared to life, thrumming with energy that shook the floor beneath him. Sparks danced along the walls as the ship responded to his command, alive again after centuries of silence. Outside, the stars stretched and bent as the Perseus prepared to leap into the unknown. Kale felt a thrill he had never known. Fear was there, yes, but beneath it was excitement, hope, and a sense of purpose. Humanity's lost legacy, its secret potential, was in his hands. And somewhere deep inside the ship, Kale thought he could feel it watching him. Not as a machine, not as a legend, but as a living reminder that humans could endure, adapt, and rise even from the ashes of forgotten centuries. The countdown began. Stars blurred. Engines flared. And the Perseus, the legendary ship, had awoken. Kale's journey had only just begun. The map pointed the way, but the challenges ahead would test everything humans were capable of. One thing was certain: whatever waited in the uncharted expanse, humanity would face it and survive.
And Kale? He would be the first to prove that humans, clever and courageous, were the galaxy's hidden hope.
The stars outside the Perseus streaked past like silver rivers. Kale gripped the railing of the bridge, eyes fixed on the holographic map.
Every blink of light, every flicker on the display was a promise and a warning. He knew this journey would not be easy.
The coordinates led to uncharted space, a region untouched for centuries. But it wasn't just the unknown that worried him. There were whispers in the fleet, rumors of alien scavengers hunting lost human ships, hunting anything that could hint at long-lost human technology. Kale had ignored those stories before, but now, with the Perseus awake and humming with energy, the possibility felt very real.
He turned to the ship's AI, the translucent figure that had guided him since he arrived. "What can you tell me about the map? About Earth's lost hope?" he asked. The AI's hologram shimmered. "The map points to a sector hidden from all eyes. Centuries ago, humans foresaw the collapse of their civilizations. They built a plan, not for war, but for survival. That plan is called the Hidden Hope." Kale frowned. "A plan? What kind of plan?" "It is a safeguard," the AI replied. "Knowledge, technology, and life itself were preserved. Humans use this ship to carry the seeds of civilization. If the galaxy falls, this sector would allow humanity to rise again."
Kale felt a chill. Humanity's lost potential. He had always imagined it in myths and old stories.
But to see it in front of him, real and tangible, was overwhelming. He moved deeper into the ship, following the AI's guidance.
Every corridor he passed told a story. Faded murals depicted humans in battles across the stars, wielding technology beyond what the galaxy could understand.
There were holographic records showing humans negotiating with alien species, building colonies on hostile worlds, and even defying threats that seemed impossible. Kale reached a section labeled Archive of the Ancients. It was a massive room filled with crystalline storage units.
Each crystal glowed faintly, containing centuries of human knowledge. Engineering designs, biological data, star charts, and records of battles, all preserved in perfect clarity.
He ran his fingers over a crystal. This is incredible," he whispered.
Humanity really thought this far ahead. The AI appeared beside him.
Yes.
Humans knew that intelligence, creativity, and resilience were the greatest weapons. These records are not just history. They are tools for survival. Kale's mind raced. If the scavengers found this, the galaxy could fall into chaos. He needed to protect it. But how could he? He was alone, and the AI, though capable, could not fight in the physical sense.
A sudden alert flashed on the bridge. Kale rushed back. "Sensors detect movement," the AI said. "Ships approaching fast. They are tracking the energy signature of the Perseus." Kale's stomach tightened.
"Aliens?" "Yes," the AI replied. "They are scavengers."
"Their technology is advanced, but they do not anticipate human strategy. You must act quickly."
Kale moved to the console, scanning the approaching ships. Small, fast vessels armed with weapons designed to tear through metal and mind alike. Their engines emitted a low hum, the sound of calculation and threat combined. Kyle clenched his jaw.
The AI had warned him, but nothing could have prepared him for the sight of them. He thought quickly. The Perseus was more than a ship. It was a human creation, capable of adapting. Kale had noticed it responding to his instincts, but now it was time to test that capability fully. "Aye," he said. "Show me the hidden maneuvers. We're going to need every trick humans ever used to survive." The AI's hologram shimmered. "Acknowledged. Preparing tactical protocols based on human ingenuity and historical strategy. Manual adaptation required from pilot." Kale smiled grimly. "Let's see if we still have what it takes."
The first alien ship fired a pulse of energy. Kale twisted the controls, dodging with the maneuver no autopilot would have predicted. Sparks flew along the hull as they grazed a damaged panel. The Perseus responded immediately, rerouting energy to shields and countermeasures.
It was as if the ship itself was alive, reacting to Kale's instincts. Kale realized something incredible. This ship wasn't just a vessel, it was a partner. It understood human thought, human creativity, and human courage. Together, they could outsmart even the deadliest foes. The battle escalated. Kale used old strategies humans had perfected centuries ago, combined with the ship's advanced systems. He hid among asteroid fields using debris as cover, then executed sudden flips and dives that confounded the alien pilots. Lasers missed, engines groaned, and yet Kale never panicked. Amid the chaos, the AI spoke. Kale, you must understand. The alien scouts are relentless. They will follow, adapt, and attack with superior numbers. You must reach the hidden sector before they discover its location. Kyle nodded.
Then we need to move faster.
Can the engines handle it? The AI paused. If you push the core beyond safe limits, the ship may sustain damage, but it will allow us to escape at maximum velocity. Kale didn't hesitate. He overrode the safety protocols. The engines roared, shaking the entire ship. Stars stretched into lines, and the Perseus shot forward like a comet. For hours, Kale maneuvered through asteroid fields, through unstable star systems, and past cosmic storms. Every moment tested his skill, his patience, and his courage. Yet, despite the danger, he felt alive. He had never been this engaged in a mission in his life. The stakes were higher than anything he had ever faced, but so was the thrill. Finally, Kale allowed himself a moment to breathe. He looked at the map. The hidden sector was still far away, but for the first time he felt a glimmer of hope. Humanity's legacy, carefully preserved, was within reach, but the AI had one more revelation. Kale, there is more to the ship than knowledge and engines. You must see the hope capsules.
Kale raised an eyebrow.
Hope capsules. Humanity preserved the greatest minds, explorers, and innovators in stasis.
They are the final safeguard. If civilizations fall, they will awaken to rebuild the galaxy. The Perseus carries their lives. Kale felt his heart race. He had expected data, maps, and perhaps technology, but humans, preserved for centuries, waiting to awaken? This was beyond anything he could have imagined. He followed the AI to the lower decks, where massive stasis pods lined the walls. Each pod glowed faintly, filled with the soft light of preserved life. Kale ran his hand along one. The faces were peaceful, human, yet untouched by the passage of time. They were waiting for a future they could not see, waiting for him to bring them back. Kale swallowed hard. This is why they built the ship. This is why they trusted humans to survive. We were always meant to endure. The AI nodded. Yes, but they are not safe yet. The scavengers will not stop. You must reach the hidden sector before they arrive. Every moment counts. Kale took a deep breath. His mind raced. These humans, preserved for centuries, were the key to restoring hope. If he failed, the galaxy could lose its greatest legacy. Yet he could not fail. Not now. Not ever! He returned to the bridge. The alien scouts were still on their trail, relentless and calculating. But Kale had a plan. Using human ingenuity, he guided the Perseus through a series of impossible maneuvers. He exploited cosmic anomalies, warped gravitational fields, and even debris clusters to confuse the enemy. Each move was dangerous. Each turn a gamble, but humans had always thrived on risk, on thinking beyond the obvious. Hours passed, and the alien ships began to fall behind. Kale's combination of skill, intuition, and the ship's adaptive systems proved too much for them. Yet he knew this was only the beginning. The hidden sector lay ahead, still uncharted, and dangers unknown waited there. Kale finally allowed himself a brief smile. He had survived the first trial. The Perseus responded with a low hum, almost as if proud of its pilot. He looked at the holographic map. The coordinates shimmered faintly, a reminder of the journey yet to come. And deep inside, Kale felt the weight of responsibility. Humanity's past, present, and future rested on his shoulders. He had uncovered secrets that could save civilizations, but only if he succeeded. Only if he had the courage, the skill, and the determination to reach the hidden sector.
The stars stretched endlessly outside, a vast expanse of darkness and possibility. Kale gripped the controls, his jaw set with determination. The journey was far from over. Danger lurked in every shadow, and enemies would not rest. But Kale had something they did not: human ingenuity, courage, and the will to survive. And for now, that was enough.
The Perseus surged forward, alive, powerful, and ready. Humanity's hidden hope was closer than ever. And KL, human, brilliant, fearless, was the first to lead it into the light. The stars outside the bridge of the Perseus stretched like rivers of silver light.
Kale's eyes flicked between the holographic map and the approaching alien scouts. They had not given up.
If anything, their pursuit had become more precise, more calculated. Each pulse from their engines was a reminder. They would not let the ship reach its destination without a fight.
Kale's jaw tightened. He had survived the first encounter, outsmarting the scavengers with a combination of instinct and the Perseus's adaptive systems.
But this was different. They had learned.
They were faster now, predicting some of his maneuvers. Mistakes would be deadly. The AI's hologram appeared beside him, its form flickering faintly.
Kale,
They have adapted to our initial tactics.
their fleet now moves with coordinated strategy. We must improvise.
Kale nodded. Then we improvise.
Humans survive because we think differently. They may have numbers, but they don't think like us.
For the next few cycles, Kale guided the ship through a gauntlet of asteroids, collapsed stars, and rogue comets. Each move was a gamble. Engines groaned, shields flared, and the hull vibrated under the stress. But the ship responded to his instincts. It was alive in a way no machine had ever been, bending and twisting, dodging and weaving as if it could anticipate danger before it arrived. Suddenly, one of the alien ships fired a massive pulse of energy. Kale barely had time to react. He twisted the controls sharply, diverting energy to the shields, and felt the blast graze the hull. Sparks flew. A panel melted. The smell of ozone filled the bridge. The AI's voice was calm.
Minor structural damage detected. All systems functional.
Recommend countermeasure deployment. Kale activated a sequence he had discovered in the ship's archives, ancient human tactics encoded in the AI. The ship emitted a pulse of its own, scrambling the targeting systems of the enemy fleet. Lasers missed. Engines faltered. The scavengers' coordination broke apart for a moment. Kale allowed himself a brief smile. Humans had always survived against impossible odds, he thought.
Creativity, courage, unpredictability. They were weapons no alien could fully understand, but the moment of relief was short. The alien fleet regrouped, now more cautious and coordinated. They had learned from the human tactics.
Kale realized he could not rely on the same tricks again. He needed a bold plan, something no one would expect. He studied the map. The hidden sector was near, but between him and it lay a collapsing star. A massive gravity well that could tear the Perseus apart if navigated incorrectly.
And the scavengers knew it. They were using it as a trap, trying to force him into the open.
Kale's heart raced. He had to think fast.
There was no margin for error. The core, he muttered. We'll have to push it beyond limits.
The AI shimmered. Risk level extreme.
Probability of hull breach 58%. Probability of survival low without precise maneuvers.
Kale grinned faintly.
Then we do it perfectly.
He engaged the engines, diverting every ounce of power to propulsion and shields. The ship's fusion core flared, casting the bridge in brilliant blue light. Stars outside warped, bending under the ship's acceleration. The gravity well loomed ahead, a swirling mass of destructive energy. Kale held steady, guiding the ship through a narrow path, calculating angles, thrust, and timing with the precision of a master pilot. The AI assisted, making micro-adjustments that no human could manage alone. Together, they danced between death and survival, threading the needle through collapsing space. The alien scouts followed, desperate and reckless. Kale exploited their overconfidence. Using the ship's adaptive capabilities, he created a sudden decoy, a holographic projection of the Perseus appearing behind the gravity well. The aliens fired, their energy pulses wasted on empty air.
Kale's real ship shot forward, unseen and untouched. Finally, they cleared the gravity well.
The hidden sector was within reach, but Kale knew the danger wasn't over.
The scavengers would follow, relentless until the last second. He activated the final protocol. The AI's voice was urgent. Kale, the Hope capsules are nearby. Their awakening must be protected. You must reach the chamber without delay.
Kale nodded. The lower decks were a maze of old corridors and machinery. He moved quickly, following the AI's guidance, until he reached the chamber where the Hope capsules rested. Rows of glowing pods filled the room, each containing a human preserved for centuries. Their faces were peaceful, serene, as if sleeping. But Kale knew the moment he activated them, they would awaken to a galaxy very different from the one they had left. He approached the first pod, placing his hand on the activation panel. A soft hum filled the room, and the pod began to glow brighter. Lights danced along the floor, and Kale felt a strange warmth in the air, like life itself returning. The AI spoke.
Kale, the awakening sequence is delicate. One mistake, and the subjects could be damaged permanently. You must proceed carefully.
Kale's fingers moved over the controls with precision. He had repaired ships, solved impossible technical problems, but this was different. This was humanity itself, preserved for survival. The weight of responsibility pressed on him, but he did not falter.
Slowly, pod by pod, humans began to awaken. Eyes opened, confused at first, then sharp with awareness.
Memories flooded back in fragments. History, knowledge, skills, and the deep understanding of human ingenuity. Scientists, engineers, explorers, strategists, they were all here, waiting for the moment to rebuild what had been lost. Kale stepped back, feeling a mix of awe and relief. Humanity's hidden hope was no longer dormant. It was alive, awake, and ready, but the sound of approaching engines snapped him from his reverie. The scavengers had followed. They had tracked the energy spike from the awakening pods. Their weapons glinted through the reinforced windows of the chamber. Kale's mind raced.
There was no time for fear, only action. He turned to the AI. Prepare the defense systems. We can't let them touch the capsules.
The AI shimmered.
Engaging adaptive defensive protocols. Probability of success moderate.
Your leadership required for tactical execution. Kale's hands moved across the controls, issuing commands to deploy energy barriers, redirect power to shields, and activate decoy holograms.
The aliens fired, but their weapons struck illusions, energy fields, and misdirected pulses. The Hope capsules remained untouched.
Kale realized something crucial. The scavengers had never faced humans who thought like this, who adapted on the fly.
Their technology was precise, but their strategy was rigid. Humans, unpredictable and clever, could exploit that. Using the ship's systems, Kale created a series of rapid, unpredictable maneuvers.
The Perseus twisted, dived, and flared in ways that no alien pilot could anticipate. The scavengers collided, misfired, and retreated in confusion. Kale exhaled slowly. The chamber was secure. For now.
Humanity's hidden hope was safe, but he knew this was not the end.
The aliens would return, stronger and smarter. They would never give up on something as valuable as this ship, as these humans. Kale looked at the awakened humans, their eyes filled with curiosity and determination. He saw the spark of resilience, the intelligence and courage that had always defined humanity. And he understood something profound. The galaxy had underestimated humans for centuries, but now it would see the truth. The AI's voice softened. Kale, you have passed the greatest trial. The final sector awaits.
There, the full potential of humanity can be realized.
Kale nodded. The path ahead was still dangerous, but he no longer felt alone. With the Hope capsules awake and the ship fully operational, humans had the tools, knowledge, and courage to face any threat. He returned to the bridge, ready to guide the Perseus into the final stretch. The stars shimmered, full of possibility, mystery, and danger.
And Kale, human, brilliant, fearless, prepared to lead humanity's hidden hope into the galaxy once more. The trial by fire was over, but the final test, the awakening of humanity's legacy, was just beginning. The stars outside the viewport stretched into streaks as the Perseus approached the hidden sector. Kale's hands rested lightly on the controls, but his mind was sharp, alert. The Hope capsules had awakened, and with them, the brightest minds, strongest explorers, and cleverest strategists of humanity. They were learning quickly, adapting to the ship, and absorbing the knowledge that had been preserved for centuries. The AI's hologram flickered beside him. Kale, the hidden sector is secure, but sensors detect a large alien fleet approaching. Their numbers surpass our previous encounter. They are aware of the Hope capsule's awakening. Kyle nodded. Then we do what humans have always done. We fight smart, not with sheer force, but with cunning and unity. He walked down to the newly awakened humans, introducing himself. You are humanity's hidden hope, he said. The galaxy has underestimated us for too long. But together, we can survive. Together, we can reclaim what was lost.
A murmur of understanding passed through the group. Engineers, scientists, and tacticians began analyzing the ship, running simulations and preparing for the incoming battle.
Even though centuries had passed, their minds were sharp, their ingenuity intact. Kale felt a surge of pride. This was the essence of humanity. Unpredictable, creative, unstoppable. Outside, the alien fleet emerged from hyperspace. Hundreds of ships, sleek, deadly, their energy weapons glowing ominously. They had tracked the Perseus relentlessly, hoping to destroy humanity's final safeguard. But they had not accounted for the humans aboard. The living minds, awake and thinking, ready to respond. Kale returned to the bridge. AI, deploy adaptive defense grids. Prepare decoys and countermeasures. And engage the Hope capsules in tactical support. Let's show them what humans can do. The AI shimmered.
Acknowledged.
Tactical integration in progress. Probability of successful defense. Moderate increasing with human input. The battle began. The alien fleet fired, their weapons streaking through space.
But humans did not panic. Using the ship's adaptive systems, they deployed decoys, cloaking, and energy diversions. Every move was calculated yet unpredictable, exploiting weaknesses the aliens had never anticipated. Kale guided the Perseus through asteroid fields and debris clusters, weaving in and out of danger. Engineers among the awakened humans calculated trajectories, scientists analyzed energy pulses, and strategists devised attack patterns, all in real time. It was as if centuries of human ingenuity had awakened alongside them, flowing through the ship and guiding every decision. The aliens unleashed a massive energy wave designed to disable the Perseus's shields. Kale felt the hull shudder, sparks flying across the bridge. The AI quickly rerouted power, but Kale had another idea. Divert energy to the propulsion systems, he said. We'll use the wave against them. The ship surged forward, using the alien attack as momentum. Energy pulses backfired on the enemy fleet, disrupting formations, knocking ships off course, and creating confusion. Kale smiled. Humans had always turned danger into opportunity. The battle raged for hours. The aliens were relentless, but every attack was countered with human creativity. Engineers repaired critical systems on the fly, tacticians predicted enemy movements, and Kale piloted with unmatched skill, exploiting every weakness. Finally, Kale made the decisive move. He initiated a tactical flanking maneuver, using the Hope capsule's computational minds to simulate thousands of potential outcomes in seconds. They coordinated every system, predicting alien reactions before they happened. The aliens, confident and arrogant, were unprepared. Their formations collapsed.
Weapons fired into empty space, engines collided with debris, and ships began to retreat in disarray. Ko watched, heart pounding, as the alien fleet fled. They had underestimated humans, and that mistake cost them dearly. The bridge erupted in quiet celebration.
The awakened humans smiled, nodding to one another, aware that they had just survived a battle that would have destroyed most civilizations. Kale felt a sense of pride unlike any he had known.
Humanity had triumphed, not through superior numbers or brute force, but through ingenuity, courage, and unity. But the mission was not complete.
Kale turned back to the hidden sector. The coordinates led to a remote system, untouched by war, where the Hope capsules could fully integrate into the galaxy. Planets waited to be colonized, knowledge waited to be shared, and human civilization waited to rise again. Kale guided the Perseus into orbit around a verdant planet, lush and full of potential.
The AI began transferring the awakened humans to specialized habitats designed to preserve life and support rapid adaptation. Gardens, laboratories, and training grounds were prepared, all modeled on centuries of human knowledge and ingenuity. Kale walked among the new pioneers, feeling a profound connection. "This is your world now," he said. "Your chance to rebuild, to explore, to create. The galaxy has been harsh, but humans endure. Always."
One of the awakened strategists, a woman named Lyra, looked at him.
"We have the knowledge, the skills, and the will. But what now? How do we ensure we never fall again?" Kale smiled. "We never underestimate ourselves. We think, we adapt, and we rise. Humans have always survived when hope seemed lost. Now we shape our destiny," the AI chimed in. "Integration of human knowledge complete. Life support and environmental systems stable. Probability of successful civilization reestablishment high."
Kale turned back to the stars. Beyond the planet lay uncharted space, alien threats, and unknown dangers.
But he was no longer alone. Humans, awake and ready, had joined him. Together they could face anything. The final piece was symbolic yet powerful.
Kale activated the ship's historical archive, allowing all awakened humans access to centuries of human knowledge, engineering designs, star maps, scientific discoveries, and cultural records.
It was a treasure trove of civilization preserved and now reborn. One by one, the humans stepped forward, exploring the planet, planning new colonies, and organizing teams.
Lyra studied the maps, suggesting trade routes and scientific outposts. Engineers began repairing ships, creating vessels for exploration. Scientists tested the planet's resources, learning how to harness them. Kale watched, a sense of fulfillment settling over him. Humanity's hidden hope was no longer a myth. It was alive, thriving, and ready to reclaim the galaxy. Then he returned to the bridge of the Perseus. The ship, once a legend, now a beacon of hope, hummed with energy. Kale placed his hand on the console. "We've done it," he said softly. "We've survived, we've adapted, and we've risen. Humanity is back." The AI's hologram shimmered beside him. "Kale, your leadership has ensured the survival of countless generations. The galaxy will remember humans not as weak, but as resilient, clever, and courageous." Kale allowed himself a smile. For the first time in centuries, the stars no longer seemed empty. They were full of potential, waiting for humans to explore, rebuild, and thrive. Outside, the Perseus lifted off, soaring into the galaxy. Behind them, the alien fleet retreated, their arrogance shattered.
Ahead, new worlds waited, challenges awaited, and the humans of the Hope capsules were ready to face them. Kale looked back at the awakened humans, their eyes bright with purpose. "This is just the beginning," he said. "We are humanity. We endure, we thrive, we rise." And with that, the Perseus leapt into the unknown, carrying not just humans but hope, courage, and the indomitable spirit that had always defined them. The galaxy had witnessed the trial by fire, and humanity had emerged victorious. No enemy, no obstacle, no dark void could stop them. Because humans were not just survivors. They were creators, thinkers, and the hidden hope of the universe itself. And KL? He had led them to it. The stars stretched endlessly before them, but for the first time in centuries, humans were ready to claim their place among them. The Perseus was no longer a legend. It was the beginning of a new era. Humanity's hidden hope had awakened, and the galaxy would never forget it.